Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing to my channel. And while you're at it, smash that like button for me. I really would appreciate it. Also, make sure you hit that post notification bell for me so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. Be careful down in the comment section of the videos, guys. A lot of spam, a lot of scammers. I will never ask you to contact me by WhatsApp. I do not invest money for my subscribers under no circumstances. So please be careful. Don't get yourself scammed. If you want 6 free stocks, Webull is going to give you 6 free stocks when you open up a new Webull brokerage account. Put at least 1 penny in that account. They're going to give you 6 free stocks valued all the way up to $12,600. So after the video, go down to the description box of the video. Click on that Webull link, open up your new account today, go get that free stock, go get that free money. In today's live stream, guys, I want to talk a little bit about cash. I've been getting some questions around, what should I be doing with my cash? Under these circumstances we find ourselves in with the stock market, with the economy, with rising inflation, should I be keeping my cash tucked away at my local bank? Should I be buying assets with my cash? What should I be doing? Well, guys, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing, and hopefully that will help some of you guys. Currently, right now, I have my cash in 2 places. I have my cash, a part of it, about 25% of it, in the bank. And then I have about 75% of my cash invested in the market. Because, see, I'm a big believer that although things seem volatile right now, I still think if I keep that money invested in the right investments long term, I'll be okay. As long as I'm invested in blue chip companies, blue chip ETFs, blue chip cryptos, I'm gonna be okay. So I like to make sure that 75% of my cash is invested, working for me. Now I can do that because, again, I got 25% of my net worth in cash. So I have cash on the sideline that I can go ahead and utilize for emergencies and things like that. I know some of you guys may not be in that situation and you're trying to determine, what should I be doing at this point? I can't do both. And if you can't do both, then I would say keep your money on the sideline, right? If you can't do both right now, keep your money on the sideline. But if you do have cash reserves and you also want to build your wealth, then I would say, consider doing both. Taking a portion of your money, a portion of your cash, and putting it in investments right now that in the future can increase your net worth. But you also want to, like I said, you do want to keep a certain amount of money separated in a safe place for emergencies. You should have that 6 to 12 month emergency fund in place so that if you do hit a bump in the road, you got something to fall back on and you don't have to panic sell your investments you have in the market. So keep that in mind as you start consider what you want to do with your cash. Another thing I think about when I'm thinking about my cash is, during these hard times that we're in right now with the economy, should I be paying off debt? Should I be paying off debt with some of this cash that I have? And for me, it depends. It depends on what type of debt it is, number one, and how much of that debt is there to pay off. Now, number one, if you got high interest rate debt, definitely you need to be paying that off right now. High interest rate credit card debt, high interest rate, credit car loan debt, personal loans, equity credit lines, anything that has an interest rate of 5% or higher, guys, I would be asking you to consider paying that debt off. See, the way I look at it is this: if I can pay off a 5% debt, interest rate debt, then really the money that I'm using to pay it off, I'm really giving myself a 5% return on that money. That's the way I look at it. Because I couldn't take the money right now and actually put it in the market and do better. I can't put the money in the market right now and do better than the 5% interest rate that I'm paying on this high interest rate debt. Right now, long term, I believe I can do better than 5%. But short term, there's nowhere I can put the money that I'm gonna get a 5% return. So I might as well take that cash and pay off that high interest rate debt. So that would probably be one of the things that I would recommend you consider if you got cash right now and you're trying to say to yourself, do I invest it? Do I keep it in my checking account or do I pay off debt? Then, yeah, you want to consider what type of debt it is. No matter what, you always want to go with having your emergency funded first with your available cash. I would not take my emergency fund and pay off high interest rate debt. I would not take my emergency fund and put it in the stock market either. I would keep that emergency fund for, situations that may come up. I might lose my job. Who knows? I may get sick and can't work. I need to have that emergency fund tucked away to be able to handle situations like that. Once I got that emergency fund put in place, then the second place I take the cash is high interest rate debt. Stack rank the high interest rate debt from the highest interest rate first, all the way down to the lowest interest rate. And then I just systematically start paying that debt off with the cash that I have. Once I got my emergency fund, once I got my high interest rate debt paid off, then I take that cash or my income and I start investing it into assets that will build wealth for me. And one of those asset classes is, stocks, ETFs, index funds, cryptos, mutual funds, basically the stock market, right? With the exception of crypto. That's one asset class you can put money in order to build wealth. You can also take money and put it in real estate to build wealth, income producing real estate. Now, I know real estate right now, depending upon where you live in the country, you may not be able to afford to buy real estate right now. I get that. And if you can't, then I would say concentrate more on considering the stock market because you want to multiply that money. And again, leaving it in your savings account long term is not going to really multiply it. I get leaving it in there short term because you're thinking, okay, let me just get my bearings straight. Let me make sure I got a plan before I deploy this money. Short term, I get that. But I think long term, leaving it in the savings account, and when I say leave it in the savings account, I'm talking about excess cash. I'm not talking about your emergency fund. I'm talking about excess cash above and beyond the emergency fund. I think leaving it in the savings account long term is it's going to hurt you more than it will help you, right? Because inflation is 8.5%. So if you're going to leave it in the savings account, just kind of letting it sit there, you're losing purchasing power. Again, not your emergency fund, not money that you have earmarked for short-term uses like, buying a house or some down payment, not short-term usage money or emergency fund. You leave that in the savings account. But if you got excess cash and you're thinking about multiplying it, then my recommendation is put it in the market, the stock market. That could be one option. Second option could be real estate, if you can afford to buy based on where your location is. And then the third option would be a business. That's a great way to put cash, right? That's a great place to put excess cash is in a business that you start or a business that you maybe a privately held business that you invest in, right? You provide some capital to a closely held business and they give you a part of the business for providing that capital. That could be one way you can invest in a business, a closely held business. Or like I said, you start your own you just start your own business. So, cash is trash in some people's mind. If you got all this cash, what's the purpose of having all this cash? It's not making you any money, so it's trash. And then on the other end, people say cash is king, right? Why? Because, hey, as long as I got cash, I might be losing some purchasing power due to inflation. Yep, I may not be multiplying it the best I can by, deploying it into real estate or the stock market or a business, but at the end of the day, cash is still cash, right? So you have to decide if cash is trash or if cash is king. For me, I think I look at it a little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of both. I got some cash that's probably trash that I'm keeping on the sideline for whatever reasons I want to keep it there. It's not really multiplying itself. So that could be considered somewhat trash. But I also look at it as cash as king because it's reserve money that I'm ready to use when the right opportunity pops up, right? So it just depends on what your uh, plan is and how you look at cash. For me personally, it could go either way. I think like I said, I keep the amount of cash I have on the sideline because I want peace of mind, number one, so that I don't have to worry about my investments in the stock market fluctuating like they do on a day-to-day basis. It gives me a peace of mind to know, okay, yep, the portfolio is down 20% today, but I don't have to worry about it because why? I got this cash over here that I can lean on if I need to. See, if I didn't have that cash to lean on and my portfolio dipped by 20%, I might start getting some anxiety. I might start getting some, some thoughts running through my head of selling. This is all I got. I don't have anything left. I can't lose it all. See, those thoughts start going to your mind when you don't have some cash reserves, right? So with my cash reserves, it really gives me a peace of mind in order to allow my long-term investments to run their course. But it also gives me some leverage when I got cash and I can go make deals with you know real estate owners, or I can make deals with business owners. I can make deals when I have cash. So long term, I don't want to keep a bunch of cash just sitting there idle. No, but short term, for right now, I do keep 25% of my net worth in cash, again, for peace of mind, and then for being able to have cash to be able to make deals happen that require cash. So if that makes sense. So you got to kind of walk yourself through that same type of scenario and say, hey, the cash that I have, one, do I got my emergency fund together? Two, do I have high interest rate debt? And then if you got the high interest rate debt paid off and you already have your emergency fund, then you should take that excess cash and think about, how do I multiply it? So that's sort of where I'm at on, cash is trash or cash is king. You guys drop me some comments down in the comment box and let me know kind of where you guys are when it comes to, cash. Are you holding a lot of cash, or is all of your cash deployed and out there working for you? So let me dive into some questions. I see we got some people here in the live. I do see some questions being asked. I would tell you guys, super chat is a great way to make sure you get your question answered, because I do have a lot of questions in the queue. So I'm just kind of randomly going down and I may miss a lot of them. So if you have an important question that you really want me to touch on, then certainly consider super chat, because that puts you in the front of the line. So let me see what we got here. When do you think a G63 will come down in price? And that comes from Recession Proof. Well, I don't believe the Mercedes G63 will come down in price. I think Mercedes makes just a small quantity of those types of SUVs, and they do that on purpose. And I think really where you're getting most of the inflation in the price right now is actually from the Mercedes-Benz dealers. That's where, when I'm looking online and I'm looking at G63s, where I see the huge markups, 75K markup, 100K markup, 150K markup on these G63s, is from the actual Mercedes-Benz dealers. And I can't blame them, because think about it. If I'm a Mercedes-Benz dealer and I sell you a G-Wagon, a G63 at sticker, and then you turn around, a day later and put it on Auto Trader, 100K over sticker, and you make the 100K. Yeah, I understand that. I understand now the dealerships are saying, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to mark them up. and you buy them from us marked up, and then if you can flip them above what you paid us on our markup, then you have it. So no, I don't think they'll be coming down anytime soon, just because they don't make a lot of them, and the few that you can find out there, um, they are pricey, and people are willing to pay that price for them. So I think the price will stay where it's at. What do we have here? What is the best NFT to invest in currently? Well, I can't really answer that question because I don't invest in NFTs at all, and I don't know anything about NFTs. I know something about ETFs, exchange traded funds, but NFTs I know nothing about, so I can't answer that. Somebody else in the chat may want to jump in and type something in, but I don't know anything really about NFTs. So Curtis Davis says paying off debt could be a win. Credit card at 10% or car loan. Depends on the interest rate on the credit card debt, and it depends on interest rate on the car loan, right? If the car loan is at, because remember, I recommend you stack rank the debt, not from there's a method where people say no, you stack rank, the actual balance left on the debt, the debt with the biggest balance, you put that for. I like to stack rank the debt based on how high the interest rate is. So if the car loan interest rate is higher than my credit card interest rate, then I start with the car loan. Vice versa, if the credit card debt is higher than the car loan interest rate, then I start with the credit card debt, and then I just work myself down. Let's see. Hey, greetings from New York City. Hey, thank you for joining the chat. Curtis Davis again, emergency loan, pay off debt, car loan, credit card, invest assets. Good plan, Curtis. I like it. I like it. Top Action TV. How about for those who are not in your position? Again, guys, this is what the whole call is about, right? It doesn't matter what position you're in, right? Whether you got a lot of money or little money, you still do the same thing with your cash, right? Cash is where are you getting that cash from? Typically, most of us are getting that cash from what? Active income, where we're working, trading time for money. We're getting this cash. We start building up this cash, hopefully. Now, maybe you have no cash built up, and you just got active income coming in, and you got $2,000 a month coming in, and your bills are $1,000 a month. And let's say you got $1,000 left over. You got to figure out what you want to do with that $1,000. What I'm saying is the first thing you should do with that $1,000 you got left is build an emergency fund, right? 3, 6, 9, 12 months of your expenses in emergency fund, right? That's the first thing you do. Second thing you do with that $1,000 is you look to see if you got any debt, consumer debt, high interest rate consumer debt. Not real estate debt that you live in, not real estate debt that you got a tenant in, they paying you income, not that kind of debt. I'm talking about consumer debt, like credit card debt or car loan debt, or that kind of debt. If you got that kind of debt out there and it's above 5%, then I would recommend you consider paying that off. And then once you got the emergency fund in place, you pay off the high interest rate debt, then you shift that money to start multiplying it in a business, real estate, stock market. Those are the three I use. There may be many more out there, but those are the three asset classes that I use. So whether I got $1,000 a month extra or whether I got $10,000 a month extra, I'm gonna go through the same process to determine where I'm gonna deploy that cash. Let's see what else we got in here. Let's see here. Shout out from Toronto, Andrew Pinto. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you being in the chat. Who else we got in here? Let's see. Hey, Richard, love the channel. Awesome. Thank you, JB Patel. Thank you, man. I appreciate the shout out. We got a super chat coming from Primus Glutamus Maximus. That's an interesting username. I like it though. Keep doing what you're doing, Uncle Fane. I appreciate your content. Once of all, man, I appreciate the super chat, and I appreciate you supporting the channel very much, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's move on here then and see what else we got. When a recession occurs, would it be better to buy individual stocks or index funds? You guys know I'm a big believer in not being the expert, right? And I think when you're picking individual stocks, if that's your the only thing you're doing to build your wealth, let's say you decide the stock market is where you want to multiply your money at, but you're going to do it through picking individual stocks. I think it's going to be tough to do that because you have to be the expert. You got to know everything it is to know about that individual company that you're buying stock of. Plus, the likelihood of you being able to outperform a ETF, let's say an S&P 500 ETF, the likelihood of you individually stock picking to outperform that is not very good. So what I tell people is, and I take this advice for myself, don't try to be the expert. Go with ETFs and index funds as your primary way to invest your money in the stock market. Why? Because the work has already been done for you. Companies like Vanguard, companies like Fidelity, companies like Charles Schwab have these ETF funds and these index funds already there. They already have the best of the best blue chip companies in them. So why would I need to go out and recreate the wheel and try to do all this work on my own when I can just go directly to an S&P 500 ETF that already has the top 500 companies in America in it? I don't need to recreate the wheel. I just need to get on the wheel that's already going, which is an S&P 500 ETF. So yes, I would recommend ETFs and index funds any day of the week over individual stock picking for a beginner or somebody that really doesn't know that much about the stock market. I've been doing it for 20 years, guys, actually 20 plus years. And guess what? The bulk of my portfolio is ETFs and index funds. I have about 20% of 100% of my portfolio is individual stocks. The other 80 is going to be ETFs and index funds. And I do that for a reason because I don't want to be the expert and try to pick winners and losers. We got a super chat from Keith Wright. Was thinking about investing into DraftKings. Would it be better to invest in a better ETF? I don't know anything about DraftKings, Keith, right? But I would say DraftKings is not going to give you a higher rate of return than an S&P 500 ETF. Long term. Now, DraftKings may have a one or two good years, but if you're talking about long-term building wealth, I doubt DraftKings investing in them as a company. I'm assuming that's what you mean. DraftKings is a company, one company. You invested in DraftKings or investing in the top 500 companies in America through an S&P 500 ETF. I'm going with the ETF, man, all day long. But again, not giving you financial advice. You got to go ahead and make your own decision. But if it was me, I'm going with an S&P 500 ETF. Let's see what else we got here. Mark C, and that's exactly why I invest in the index fund S&P 500 VOO year ago. Easy. Bingo, Mark. You hit the nail right on the head, man. That's the easy way to do it. And just have a long-term outlook, right? Because right now, everything's on sale. Everything's on sale. So as long as you got a long-term outlook, VOO is perfect. Is perfect, right? For 99% of us, guys, VOO is going to be the only investment we really need, right? For 99% of us. I invest in the total stock market index fund. I like the total stock market as well, guys. That's another good one. Now, S&P, let's use Vanguard's S&P 500, which is VOO, and then let's use Vanguard's total stock market ETF, which is VTI. So VTI is going to be your broader stock market ETF. It's going to have, 3,000 to 3,500 companies in it. Whereas with VOO, you're just going to have 500 in there. You're going to have the top 500 companies in America in that one. And then in VTI, you're going to have about 3,000 to 3,500 companies in that one. But both are equally broad-based stock market ETFs, in my opinion. And I don't think you go wrong with either one of them. Let's see what we got. Diversification is a hedge against ignorance. I like that. Matrix Finance. That's a good one. Let's see. That's what I'm about. Long-term wealth. Sincerely, Mr. Fain. Ronaldo G. Keep doing that, man. It's about that long term, right? It's about what? Consistency, right? Well, first of all, discipline. Got to have some discipline. Then we got to have some consistency where we consistently put money in every single week, every single month, right? Over a period of time in good, solid blue chip investments. I don't think we go wrong. We already know this bear market is going to last about 2 to 3 years. So don't be discouraged. What you should be doing is acquiring right now, right? Right? You should be acquiring. This is the period where you want to acquire your assets. Why? Because you're buying them at a discount. 2 to 3 years worth of acquiring assets. And then after that 2 to 3 years, we're going to go into the start of a bull market. And that's where you're going to get your growth. So your growth is not going to come right now. Your growth is going to come in about 3 years, right? 2 to 3 years, you're going to start seeing growth. Right now, you just want to acquire, accumulate. You want to accumulate, right? This is the accumulation stage. So that's what we want to be doing right now as much as we can. Accumulation through dollar cost averaging. And then in 2 to 3 years, when we get out of this bear market and we're in the early stages of a bull market, that's where the growth stage is going to come in. That growth stage is going to run 10 to 12 years, right? And that's where all of these blue chip investments that we bought here at the accumulation stage, they're going to start growing. And that's where you get your net worth from, guys. And then the last step in that cycle is what we call the exit stage. So somewhere in that bull run, that 8 to 12 year bull run, that 10 to 12 year bull run, somewhere in there, we may want to exit, right? In the accumulation stage, let's say I bought 200 shares of Apple in the accumulation stage, and Apple was trading at the time, my average cost across my 200 shares, let's say was 145, right? Over the 2 to 3 years, I just dollar cost average in, got myself 200 shares of Apple with an average cost per share of, let's say 145. Now we get into the growth stage, and that average per share price at 145 for my 200 shares goes up to 180. See, now I got an option. My average was 145. I've had some growth because I'm in the growth stage. I'm in this bull market. It's at 180. Should I exit? Should I take my profits and get on out of here? That's an option. You can take your profits at that point, or you could say, no, I'm gonna continue letting it compound. Let it keep compounding in the stock market. Let it keep growing. I believe Apple can get to $200 a share. So you can leave it, or you can take it once you're in the growth, as long as obviously you've bought it during the accumulation phase or stage, and then you're in the growth stage. Then you can get to that exit stage at any point in the growth stage, right? It'll be different for different people. So that's sort of how I look at dollar cost averaging in this particular bear market. That's what I think about. What can I get? How can I get my average per share cost as low as I can get it on the best blue chip companies in America? Because I know at some point, 2 to 3 years from now, these investments are going to start growing again. That per share price on average is going to go from, like I said, 145 for Apple. Maybe it goes to 185, 195. And I just made net worth by just being what? Disciplined, consistent, and patient. So let's answer some more questions here and let's see what we got. I know I done missed some. Like I said, guys, super chat is probably your best way to get me, because there are a lot of questions here. Let's see. Let's see here. It's over. I don't know what that means. What do you think about the 3-fund portfolio? Tell me what that is. Everybody got different meanings for all kind of stuff. People come up with all this terminology. Tell me what the 3 the 3 fund portfolio is. Tell me what that is, and I'll give you my thoughts. Much love from the UK. Double A vibes. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. All the way from the UK, man. I know you guys are 6 hours ahead of us, so it's probably about 11 o'clock or so there. Got to be about 11:30. So I appreciate you staying up and at least getting some of the live, man. I appreciate that, and supporting the calls, man. That's important. Let's see, invest as much. Okay, let's see what we got here. In accumulation phase, Apple 200 shares, then wait for growth, sell 50, 100 shares of Apple, exit. Curtis Davis, that's up to you, man. I think once you get yourself in the growth stage, whatever you're happy with, whatever your goal is. I mean, if your average cost when you're in the accumulation stage was, like I said, 145, and then boom, we get into this growth stage, and your average cost shoots up to 160. And if you're happy with that profit margin, then exit. I mean, the exit, guys, is your choice. You got to determine when to exit. I can't determine that for you. You got to determine when you want to exit. So what I tell folks is already have a per share number and price as your exit, right? I call that your target sell price. Already have a target sell price in mind so that when you do get in the growth stage, you already got your target sell price in mind. And when you get there, sell. If you get there and you want to say, well, okay, I got 200 shares, let me sell 100, take some profits, and I'm going to continue to leave 100 in there to keep compounding, you can do that too. The stock will bottom long before the economy bottoms. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate your help. You're very welcome. It's over. Chinese style stagnation is next. Okay. Can you explain dividend paying assets? Well, I mean, you got all types of dividend paying assets. All the dividend is you're getting paid income off of that asset, right? So for instance, in the stock market, I can buy AT&T stock, and AT&T is going to pay a quarterly dividend to its shareholders. They don't have to pay it, but they've been paying it for forever, right? So if they make, and all the dividend that they're paying is profits that they've made, they're sharing some of those profits with their shareholders. That's a dividend, right? That's what that is. Now, I could also get a dividend by investing in real estate. Maybe I invest in a real estate syndicate, and that real estate syndicate says once a year, we're going to pay our investors based on profit, based on net profit. We're going to pay a 3% dividend to our investors in this real estate syndicate. So you can get a dividend paid that way. You can get a dividend paid in any type of asset. You can have a corporation, a business, right? You can have a C corporation, and that C corporation can have, $200,000 in net profit. You can take a $200,000 dividend payment from your corporation if that's what you want to do. So asset and dividends go hand in hand, right? If I got an asset and it's making money, then typically there can be dividends paid out based on those profits. Hopefully that's my little elementary way of understanding and explaining it, but you certainly can go to Google for a more formal answer. Let's see what we got else in here. Oh, it's 11:45. Okay, in the UK. Cool. Let's see here. Rich, New Orleans appreciates you, man. Hey, A-Kid Deuce. I think that's how you pronounce it. Appreciate you, man. I appreciate that a lot. Let's get back to some of these questions here. Man, just waking up. Did I miss a lot of the prime info? We've been in the chat about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So I think I'm going to be on here for at least an hour, man. So I don't think you missed much. Just and you can always go back and rewatch it, guys, because I leave these live streams up in video format when I'm done with them anyways. What's your thoughts on Roth IRA on Webull? Thanks. I think it's fine. I mean, a Roth IRA is nothing more than an investment vehicle, right? You can open a Roth IRA vehicle anywhere, pretty much. You can open it at Vanguard. You can open it through Webull. You can open it through, I believe, Robinhood. You can open it through Merrill Lynch. I mean, you can open a Roth IRA shell. That's all it is. It's an investment. It's an individual retirement account. It's a shell. Now, when you open that shell, you got to actually put investments in it, though, inside of the Roth IRA. And that's where you want to be real careful and specific about what you actually put in the Roth, the investment you actually put in the Roth IRA, right? But yeah, Webull is fine if that's where you want to open it. But the real kicker with the Roth is the investments you actually put in it, and of course, it grows tax free. Let's see here. Good question on the Roth IRA on Webull. I just signed up for that as well. Awesome. Y'all know, guys, hey, I'm a big proponent of Webull. I use Webull every single day. So, hey, certainly link down in the description box. You get 6 free stocks. And it's a great, easy way to make moves when it comes to stock market trading. So definitely consider that. Go hit that link down in the description box. You're gonna get 6 free stocks when you use my link and you open your new Webull account. Certainly appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. Mario Gomes. What is Gomes? Cash is trash in the bank. Well, that's certainly your decision, Mario. Everybody has a different decision to make on that, right? VOO versus VTI. I like both, but I would lean more towards VOO. Honestly, I would lean more towards VOO, just because I like them top 500 big boys that's in there. Let's see who else we got here. What's the difference of dealing watches or flipping watches? I don't think there's any difference. You buy a watch, you turn around and sell it in both scenarios, right? So it's the same thing in my opinion. No difference, right? A dealer typically will, I mean, if it's an authorized dealer, they typically will get their inventory from the manufacturer. So for instance, if they're a Rolex authorized dealer or an Omega authorized dealer, a Breitling authorized dealer, IWC authorized dealer, they're getting their brand new inventory actually from the manufacturer of that particular brand, right? But they're still buying it at a wholesale price and selling it retail. So it's still selling watches. Flippers typically don't get their inventory from the manufacturer. They typically get their money from an authorized dealer who has excess inventory that that they can't sell, or they got too much of it and they move it through consolidators or wholesalers. But nevertheless, I bought all my watches. I bought 80% of my watches on eBay and flipped all of them and made great money doing that. So I never used a consolidator or wholesaler. Now, I did build relationships with authorized dealers that would also sell me new inventory, but I had to build those relationships by buying watches from them and being a loyal customer for them to be able to start selling me watches at a discount brand new. So that's not just you walk in there and, hey, man, I want to buy a watch at a discount. It don't work that way. You got to go in there and build a relationship, buy watches from these people, and then they'll start treating you like a VIP, and you can start buying some nice watches with discounts on them that at that point you can go flip if you want to. That's what I used to do when I bought new inventory from authorized dealers. How can Webull compete with prime brokers, especially portfolio margin accounts? Because they're two different things. Webull is not trying to compete with them. Webull is a self-directed brokerage app for people like me that already know what I want to invest in, right? I don't need to pay prime brokers 1.5%, 2% to invest money in something that I already know what I want to invest in. Now, if you don't want to do that and you want to go pay them 1.5%, go ahead. I choose not to. I use self-directed where I can make my own decisions and I don't pay anybody nothing. And I keep all of my return as opposed to sharing it with whoever this guy over here who's investing it for me. I'm not knocking financial advisors. I've worked with financial advisors part of my professional life. Not knocking them. I'm just saying it's two different things. Whatever you need to best help you invest your money, that's the path you go down. For me, I don't need advice. I already know what I'm going to do. So I can go to somewhere like Webull, or I can go somewhere like Vanguard and just do it myself because I already know what I'm investing in. I don't need any help trying to figure that out. But people that do need help, by all means, go get your professional help. But you're just going to pay for it. That's all. Let's see here. Thanks for answering about the Roth IRA. I have opened an account through your link. However, no idea how to start. I will send an email that will be okay. Yeah. Send me an email, man, and I'll send you a tutorial video that I did. I didn't do a tutorial video covering the Roth IRA, but remember, like I told you, the Roth IRA is not the investment itself. It's just a shell. All you're doing is answering some questions and opening up the Roth, but it's not going to do anything until you put investments in it. So that's the piece that you really want to figure out is what investments do I want to fund my Roth IRA with? Because that's the difference. The Roth IRA is just a shell. It's not the investment. It's just an account. It's just a retirement account. Then you got to fund that retirement account with VOO, VTI, individual stocks, crypto, whatever you can put in there. Let's see here. What's your favorite watch brand to flip? And that comes from the Midnight DJ. Well, Rolex, man, by far is my favorite watch to flip. But, under the circumstances we find ourselves in with Rolex, you can't buy them, right? You can't buy them and really make any money. Not the average Joe, right? So I don't flip Rolex anymore because you can't really buy them at a point where you can make any money. So what I do is I'll go to Omega, I'll go to Breitling, Panerai, I like IWC. So there are other brands right underneath Rolex, in my opinion, with same fit and finish, great quality, the same, all the things that Rolex does, but you can buy them. You can still buy them at a discount. You can still buy them low enough to flip them to make nice margin. So from there, I don't worry about Rolex. I own Rolex, but I don't try to buy them to flip them anymore because it's just for the average guy that I don't have a bunch of relationships with all these big time consolidators or wholesalers where I don't have that kind of relationship with anybody. All I can do is go online and try to buy my watches and make profit, right? That's how I make my money flipping watches. I don't have some magical place I go to buy watches at a discount. No, I have to create my profit. And I go online, negotiate the best that I can, sell them the best that I can, and hopefully make profit. And I've done a really good job of that in the past. Does it matter if the market is red or green or what the price is if you are holding long-term 10 years? Well, through dollar cost averaging, right, through dollar cost, that's the reason dollar cost averaging is so good, because you just want to be consistent with investing every single week, every single month. And in some weeks, some months, you're going to buy low. Some months you're going to buy a little higher. Some months you're going to buy lower again. Some months you're going to be higher. So, but on average, over 10 years, if you're consistent with it, you should have an average per share price that has allowed you to increase that over the 10 years, right? But you got to be consistent, and you got to buy every single, whatever your duration time is. For me, it's monthly. So every single month, I take the same amount of money and I dollar cost average in no matter where the market is doing, because I got a long-term horizon, right? Now, there are investments that I make that I am not looking to do long term. So those I will, maybe I buy Tesla. Maybe I can get Tesla for 6.25, and the goal, my target buy price, let's say, is 635, and my target sell price is 735. So I may go in and buy Tesla at 635, saying to myself, okay, when Tesla hits 735, I'm out of here, and make me 10 grand. So it depends on what type of investing you're doing. My long-term stuff, I don't worry about what the per share price is. I just continue putting the same dollar amount in every single month. But when I'm trying to make moves on short-term investment moves using the stock market, I do care. But I already know what my target buy price is, and I already know what my target sell price is. So it's easy for me to move. Tesla hits 635, I'm buying. When Tesla hits 735, I'm selling. And that's it for me. So that's how I roll. Hopefully that helped you. Let's see what else we got in here. Let's see. For some reason, I can't open my Webull account because I'm in Canada. Sorry, Darius. Webull right now is only for America. So definitely sorry about that. Hopefully at some point, maybe it will come to Canada and be opened up. But for right now, you gotta be in the US and you gotta have a tax ID number or a social security number in order to get signed up. Diane Queen, what is the best bank or financial institution to acquire mutual funds for a beginner? Thank you. Diane Queen, I'm not sure I can help you with that one other than to tell you try Vanguard. You can go to Vanguard.com. You can go to Fidelity.com. You can go to CharlesSchwab.com. All three of those are big boys. They've been around for a long time and they got wonderful mutual funds, ETFs, and index funds. Go check those three out. Get on the 800 number with somebody and have them walk you through and get your questions answered for you. Hey, Keith Wright, another super chat. Appreciate you, man. Is there certain days you go live so I can be on the watch? I typically, guys, go live once a month. And I typically do it in the beginning of the month. And I'm bad about not giving you guys warning on that. It just kind of comes over me and I say, today I'm gonna go live. But it's typically at the beginning of the month. Normally in the middle of the month or the end of the month, I don't do any lives. I'm concentrating more on just the actual videos that I put out on a daily basis. So typically in the beginning of the month, but I will make an effort to try to give you guys some warning. Like today, I didn't even plan on going live. I just said, let me go live for an hour just to see who's out here and chit chat a little bit. So, but I appreciate the super chat, Keith, and yeah, I'm gonna do my best, man, to give you guys some warning before I go live. Let's see what we got here. So why don't you recommend something outside the U.S.? Well, I don't know anything about outside the U.S. That's why I don't recommend. I live in the United States. I don't have a need to know anything about brokerage accounts outside of the U.S. I don't live outside of the United States. I'm not opening a brokerage account outside of the U.S. I live in America, so I can only recommend what I use. Number one, that's accepted in America. Sorry, I can't recommend nothing than something that I don't know about these other countries. I just don't. But there's plenty of information out there on Google that you can go find anything you want in the country that you live in. Google it. You'll be able to find some resources there. And then you just got to pick up the phone and vet some of these places. But unfortunately, I live in America. I only know about things that happen here in America, not other countries. Let's see here. Mark C. Richard, we should make it a commitment, in my opinion, to do live chat first Sunday of the month. For that reason, would appreciate it much. I agree with you, Mark C. That would be wonderful. But unfortunately, sometimes things come up in my life, man, and I don't want to isolate myself into something that I may have to change. So I'm gonna do better at trying to give you guys a day or so warning. I'm gonna do my best at that. But thank you for the recommendation, though. What is an AD in the watch business? It's an authorized dealer. An AD is an authorized dealer. So Rolex is the manufacturer, but Rolex doesn't sell directly to customers. Rolex will provide inventory to authorized dealers, and that's just sort of like a high-end jewelry store. Someone like Jared, I don't think Jared's an authorized dealer for Rolex, but I'm just using Jared because that's one of the names that come to mind. So Jared sells watches and jewelry or Mayors. Some of you guys may know Mayors here in the state of Florida. Mayors is a high-end jewelry watch store, but it's also an authorized dealer for Rolex. So Rolex will send Mayors inventory of their watches, and then Mayors can sell that inventory for people like you and I. So that's my little simple explanation of what an AD is and how they get their inventory. Let's see what we got here. Do you believe the real estate market will see a slight downturn in the next 5 years? I think the real estate market will see a leveling out. I don't know if it'll be a drastic downturn because you got to understand right now why prices are still relatively high is because we got no inventory, right? We don't have any inventory. So even though demand is coming down because of increase in interest rates, right? Increase in interest rates have slowed down demand because people People don't want to spend. People don't want a 6% fixed 30-year mortgage. They just don't want that. Oh, and also with the economy, a lot of a lot of people are saying pump the brakes. I'm not going to buy a house right now. Let me figure out what's going on with with the economy before I make that type of commitment. So demand has come down, but we still have low supply. So when we still have low supply, prices stay up because there's not a lot of inventory. So I think in 2022, we actually see increase in prices. Now, each market is different. Your market where you live may be different than the market I live. But in general, I think we'll see a slight increase in price in 2022. I think it'll be flat in 2023. And I think we'll start seeing a slight decline in prices in 2024 as more inventory comes on the market. Right now, we just don't have any inventory in a lot of key states and key locations where people have a desire to live. So it keeps prices up. But I think by 2024, we will start seeing things level out and start come back down a little bit. I don't know how low that'll be, but I certainly don't think it'll be a 2008 is what I'm saying. Christopher Turner, where should I go for life insurance and online banking? A lot of great life insurance companies. You just got to get out and do some due diligence, man. You got MetLife, Transamerica. You got a lot of blue chip insurance companies out there. Pick either one of them, right? Pick any of those blue chip insurance companies. It's going to be about the same. Certainly think about term versus whole life. I think life insurance should be to do what? Be able to provide a death benefit in the event the owner of the policy passes away, right? So I don't see it as an investment tool. So I'm a term life guy instead of a whole life guy. I just see it as death insurance, death benefit, life insurance, not as a life and not as a investment vehicle. So online banking, again, man, you got national banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, you got all of those guys. And then you got your local credit unions and you got local regional banks. Just figure out what is a good bank in your area and just go with that. That's what I would recommend to you. All right, guys, I'm going to be finishing this thing up. Looks like I got a little bad weather rolling in here. I'm hearing some thundering and I don't want to be on the bad end of a lightning strike. So I think I'm going to be winding this thing up. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me get one more question, then I think I'm gonna wind down the live. Richard, appreciate all you do in the community. Would you recommend more dividend stocks during the slow period as versus value or not much? Hey, what I recommend is an S&P 500 VOO. Guess what? You're gonna get dividend stock companies in there, and you're gonna get growth companies. So these dividend companies that pay big dividends, they're called value companies, right? You're gonna have value companies in there and you're gonna have growth companies. So you get best of both worlds. You're gonna get growth, plus you're gonna get some dividends. See, I get a dividend in my VOO. I get a dividend in my VGT. I get dividend in my VTI. I get dividends from those because they got value stocks, and they got growth stocks in there. So I think VOO is where you would want to be because you can get best of both worlds. And then you don't have to be the expert out there trying to pick dividend companies and all this other stuff, right? Let's see here. Last one. Let's see. We got one. Last one. Hey, Diane Queen, happy 4th of July to you as well. Let's see what else we got. Do we got anything else in here, guys, before I end the live stream? Let's see here. All right, guys. I appreciate you very much. Again, click on that link down in the description box for that 6 free stocks from Webull. Open up that new account today. Go get that free stock. Go get that free money. If you're stopping by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing, share the video, smash the like button. Thoughts become things. See it in your mind. You can hold it in your hands. You guys keep chasing your greatness. Never stop believing in yourself. And I'm going to catch you on the next live stream. Peace.